Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to another video featuring my layout. Today's video we will be reviewing the various steam locomotives you've seen in other videos and a few that are being highlighted for the first time. They're displayed in a way that reflects their purposes, so let's dive in. Staged in front of the passenger station are the first three locomotives. The first locomotive on the list is a BALDWIN Hudson 462 ALCO Light Pacific P-Class, road number 609. This steamer represents one within a class of 10 locomotives for BALDWIN Hudson. With a tractive effort of approximately 41,000 pounds, these light steam locomotives made ample steam for passenger engines and at times used for fast freight. These were originally produced starting in 1914 and were within service up to 1952-1953, when D&H's passenger services were eventually diminishing. This locomotive is an IHC upgraded with a Digitrax decoder. Our next locomotive is the New York Central 464 ALCO Hudson J3A class, road number 5405. This locomotive represents one within the J3A class of 40 locomotives for the New York Central. With a tractive effort of 42,000 pounds, all 275 Hudsons within the greater fleet built for the New York Central systems were primarily for passenger service, through many classes and design changes. Other versions were famously known for assignments such as part of the route for the 20th Century Limited and the Empire State Express. Many consider the Hudson to have been the most beautiful steam locomotive ever built, but unfortunately, all were scrapped by 1948. This particular model is a River Rossi running as DC. Next is a Santa Fe 482 BALDWIN Mountain. Due to the lack of accurate details on this model, a class number cannot be derived. The Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe acquired 51 of these locomotives between 1918 and 1924. With a tractive effort of approximately 54,000 pounds, these locomotives had the grunt to provide adequate service for the longer passenger trains on many of its routes, taking over the Pacifics that lacked the power. Mountains had an extensive service life and were retired and scrapped between 1950 and 1955. This particular model is a Tyco running as DC. This engine receives extra care as you can see the worm gear drive shaft is exposed and will be receiving new accurate graphics down the road. Moving to the rail yard are two of our smaller steamers. The first on the left is a 262 PRARIE. Based on the unfamiliar details of this locomotive, not much information can be derived. However, examples of the PRARIE can be found all across the country serving as switchers, running freight on branch lines, logging operations, and local freight services. These locomotives were often converted to be superheated, providing tractive efforts close to 35,000 pounds. This particular model is DC. On the right is an 060 New York Central built switcher, road number 1905. These locomotives, built as early as 1907, were only found along Manhattan's west side in extremely small numbers, only 9 throughout all of its versions. Tractive effort was approximately 18,000 pounds. These workhorses shuttled freight street level along 11th Avenue until 1932, when the High Line replaced the at-grade service route. This model is a Bachmann DC. Also staged in the freight yard is my beloved BALDWIN Hudson ALCO 4664 Challenger J class, road number 1506. Built in 1940, this J95 class steamer is considered to be the most handsome of the Challengers serving America's railroads. The articulated nature of this locomotive provided a stable operation of up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. With a tractive effort close to 95,000 pounds, these locomotives served proudly during the war effort as they would race in the middle of the night between cities to move goods and arms bound for Europe, all while hearing their deep-toned steamboat whistles echoing through the valleys of upstate New York. All J-class Challengers were scrapped by 1953. This particular locomotive is a River Rossi running as DC, but will be eventually converted to DCC. Our last large steam engine is a New York Central ALCO 484 Northern S1B class, known as a NIAGARA, road number 6014. The 24 locomotives within this class were built between 1945 and 1946 for New York Central's premier passenger services, including the 20th Century Limited, the Empire State Express, the Chicagoan, and the Commodore Vanderbilt. Unfortunately, their 62,000-pound tractive effort capabilities and overall weight could not thwart off the dieselization of New York Central during their service life. The Niagara was known to be one of the most efficient steam locomotives to ever run the rails in terms of horsepower, mileage achieved, and total life cycle costs. They soldiered on until 1956 when the road completely dieselized. This example is a Bachmann DCC. I also wanted to update everyone, and yes, I'm still making updates to the layout. Right now I'm currently placing ballast and detailing the yard, so more to come in my next layout video. As always, thank you.